Hello everyone! Welcome to Fanfic Fridays, although this is probably not going to be coming out on a Friday. I feel like the name still fits because it's still fanfiction. Anyways, today we will be reading one that has been recommended to me by a couple of people in a Skype group I'm in. The name of the fic is Poor Communication Skills by the Monokuma Files. This is a Miraculous Ladybug fanfic, by the way. And without further ado, let's get started. Chapter 1. Miraculous Ladybug. Ladybug throws the shears she had conjured into the air. It bursts into a swarm of ladybugs and light, which sweeps across Paris, fixing everything that had been destroyed in the fight. When she turns, Chat is there, offering an easy grin, and a fist held out towards her. Ladybug taps it as they both chant, "Bien joué!" They're interrupted by a dazed moan, and spin around to see a dark-skinned woman sitting on the ground, holding one hand to her head. Ladybug recognizes her shock of curly red hair. She was the chaperone assigned to Marionette's class for the field trip to the Jardins des Plantes. She recalls Chloe ignoring the woman's lectures about the history of the gardens and the types of plants the group was passing, and speaking rudely to her when she was repeatedly asked to stop whispering and giggling with Sabrina. Ladybug hadn't connected it to the Akuma that appeared half an hour later, laughing maniacally and trapping civilians in vines that seemed to shoot from her hands, but looking back, it's obvious what happened. She silently adds another tally mark to the list in her head of Akumas caused by Chloe. At this rate, maybe they should just send Chloe into exile to effectively solve Paris's Akuma problem. Ladybug jokes to herself. Chat notices something on the ground and runs across the pavement towards it as Ladybug walks over to the woman. "Miss Adeline," she says, reading the name tag pinned to the woman's green employee vest. "Are you all right?" "I think so," replies Adeline, staring up at the girl in front of her. Ladybug would guess this woman has seen her plenty on the news, but never actually seen her face to face, let alone talked to her. Adeline gasps suddenly, as her fingers touch a spot just above her ear. She combs her fingers through her frizzy hair with frantic movements, then checks the ground around her, as though searching for something. "Where is—" "Looking for this?" Chat interrupts behind Ladybug. As Adeline looks up, he holds out what he must have noticed on the ground earlier. A pink flower. Adeline's eyes widen as soon as she sees what Chat's holding. "Oh, that's it! Thank you so much." She plucks it from Chat's grasp and carefully pushes it back into her hair. She seems to relax a bit when it's back in place. "It's special to you, right?" Ladybug says as she and Chat help Adeline to her feet. The flower was the object she had to destroy to release the Akuma. It must have meant a lot. Adeline nods as she touches the flower gently with her fingertip. "It's a chrysanthemum. Simon gave it to me this morning," she murmurs. Then clarifying, "My co-worker. Simon must be her boyfriend then, or at least a close friend." At the moment, the woman finally seems to take in her surroundings, noticing that they were not in the same place she was earlier, as well as the significance of the two heroes standing in front of her. "What happened?" she asks. "You're Ladybug and Chat Noir, aren't you? But you only appear when... Was I—" "Yes. You were a victim of Hawk Moth." Chat finishes for her. "It's all right. Ladybug purified the Akuma. We're still in the botanical garden, so you should be able to get back to work soon." "How did you know that I work here?" asks Adeline, peering at him with confused eyes. A pause. "Well, you're wearing the vest, of course," Chat says finally, gesturing to the words Jardins des Plantes emblazoned over the breast pocket. Adeline looks down at him. At that very moment, Ladybug's earrings start beeping, having lasted a surprisingly long time after her use of Lucky Charm. After a few seconds, Chat's ring beeps as well. His Miraculous looks even more depleted than hers. It's down to the last paw, cat finger, toe beam? "Well, would you look at that," Chat says, sounding just a bit too excited. "It's time for me to go." Before Adeline can say anything more, he spins, preparing to leave. He leans in close to whisper in Ladybug's ear, "I'll cover for us. With that, he's gone, running a few feet and launching himself with the aid of his baton. Ladybug smiles apologetically at Adeline and points to her ear. Sorry, but I've got to go too. I hope everything works out all right. She turns and runs in the same direction as Chat, swinging her yo-yo and leaving the slightly bemused employee alone in the gardens. When Marionette arrives at the food court 15 minutes later, Adrien is already there, talking to Miss Bustier with wide, innocent eyes and exaggerated movements of his hands. Nino and Alia stand behind him, both wearing dubious expressions. Whatever excuse Adrien is making up for them must be especially wild. Alia is the first to spot Marionette, walking into the building and lights up, weaving her way through the crowded people to meet her. Marionette, she sighs, wrapping the shorter girl in a hug. They made us hole up in the food court for safety, and when you weren't here, I was worried about you, girl. You've got to stop disappearing like that. She casts a glance over her shoulder. Adrien says you two were trapped by those vines and couldn't get free, although it's a little hard to believe that the Akuma just happened to get 2 out of 14 students. Marionette's heart skips a beat as Alia's eyes narrow. Listen, Alia says sternly. We all know you and your boyfriend sneaked off to make out. But next time, let me know instead of letting me worry about you getting captured, okay? Marionette laughs, relieved. Alia puts a hand on her shoulder. I'm serious, she protests, but she's smiling anyways. Marionette smiles back. Okay, Alia. Adrien comes over to join them, Nino in tow. His cheeks are pink as he grins at the both of them. Think Miss Bustier bought it? He asks, tangling his fingers with Marionette's. Dude, says Nino, crossing his arms, that was about as believable as the time you told me you accidentally got shut in your own locker for an hour. Aw, man, was it really that bad? Adrien says ruefully. It was, Alia replies. Dude, it's okay. We all know you two are sucking face. Nino! Adrien gasps, face turning scarlet. Nino just smirks and loops his arm through Alia's. Marionette glances at Adrien out of the corner of her eye. He glances back, and Marionette feels a smile tugging at the corner of her lips. Adrien squeezes her hand just a little, as if to confirm the secret they're sharing. What are you two conspiring about? Says Alia, ever the perceptive journalist. Nothing, says Adrien quickly, and throws his free arm around Nino's shoulders. We'd better rejoin the rest of the class before Miss Bustier gets mad. Alia raises an eyebrow, but allows Adrien to lead them back to their classmates. That was close, Marionette says later, while she stands outside the school building to wait with Adrien. A little too close for comfort. I know, he replies. The Akuma seem to be coming more and more lately, have you noticed? Yeah, Marionette admits. We used to be able to go on a week or two between attacks, but they're starting to happen once a week, or even every few days. Do you think something weird is going on? It's hard to say. We don't know much at this point, so I think we just need to stay vigilant. Marionette squeezes his hand. You know, I have to say, it's been less stressful since I found out. I mean, now that I've had time to get used to it. Do you feel like that? Adrien looks over at her and smiles. It's different that the one that shines from the billboards and magazine ads, a genuine smile. Marionette's heart melts. Stop that, she grumbles amiably. I can't help it if being near you makes me smile, my lady, says Adrien, half seriously. Oh, shush, mutters Marionette, grasping the lapel of his shirt and pulling them in for a kiss. When they part a few seconds later, she rests her forehead on his. I'm so glad it was you, she murmurs, almost in a whisper. Adrien's eyes are soft. Me too, Marionette. Oi! Lovebirds! Marionette jolts, startled by Nino's shout. She spins around to see him running out of the building and over to where they are by the sidewalk. What's up, bro? Says Adrien, holding out his hand for a fist bump. Nino returns it, then rests his hand on his knees for a second to catch his breath. Wanted to catch you before the car gets here, he explains. Dude, Alia and I are planning a sleepover this Friday. We're gonna hang out, play the new racing game that got released. You guys want to join us? I'd love to, Marionette says immediately, already thinking of some kind of pastry she could bring. Adrian, however, looks regretful and scratches the back of his head. I really don't know. Nino holds up his hands. I know, Dadzilla and all that. It's just a thought. You never know. He might decide to let you come, just for one night. And he might reveal himself as Hawkmoth and announce his takeover of Paris, Adrian mutters. But I'll ask Nino. I'd love to go. At that moment, the silver car pulls up behind Adrian and Marionette, the horn honking a short blast to announce its arrival. That's my cue, announces Adrian. He fist bumps with Nino again, then leans in to kiss Marionette goodbye. He whispers, so quietly Marionette has to strain to hear. See you tonight? She nods, almost imperceptibly, as Adrian smiles at the both of them and waves as he ducks into the car and closes the door. Man, you two have really got it bad, Nino says, as they both watch the car speed away. If I ever get like that with Alia, just mercy kill me. You're just jealous you didn't get him first, jokes Marionette. Nino shrugs. Well, he is the hottest person in the entire school. Don't let Alia hear you say that. Oh, she's not here, is she? Nino spins around. Marionette laughs, holding a hand to her mouth. You're not scared, are you? Nino turns back around. Of course I am. It comes with loving her. Marionette smiles. But seriously, you two are almost sickening, Nino continues. It's cute though, but man, it's like you two just fell madly in love overnight. Almost right, Marionette thinks. Is that so? Yeah, Nino folds his arms. How did you do that? You perform witchcraft on him or something? Marionette smiles teasingly. That's for me to know, and you to find out. That's the end of Chapter 1. There's only 2 chapters, and it's about 3,000 words, so I think I will finish this up in Chapter 2, just make this one long episode. But I would like to take a quick break here and say this is an excellent story so far. I'm really enjoying it. The characterization of the characters is great. And, oh dear, I keep stumbling over my words this morning. But yeah, I think that this is a wonderful fanfic. Just the kind I like. Just cute enough with just enough romance to be nice. It's not overly gushy, but it's cute, Anyways, I'll continue with Chapter 2 here in a moment. Hello. Welcome back. We will be starting Chapter 2 of Poor Communication Skills. What I did during the break was I cleared my throat of that nasty little thing that was in it that was making me sound weird last episode. Anyways, without further ado, let's get started. Chapter 2 of Poor Communication Skills. You did what? Alia faces Nino, one hip cocked, arms folded. Her expression does not look pleased. I invited Adrian and Marionette, repeats Nino, to join us on Friday. Alia sighs and massages her temples with one hand. Nino, I thought you understood what I meant when I suggested a sleepover. It wasn't exactly the kind of thing I wanted other people to be there for. Nino's face showed dawning comprehension. Oh. Well, pretty lady. Don't call me that, Alia interjects, looking like she might be trying not to smile. As much as I would love to do those other activities you had planned, Marionette already said she was coming. Well, that'll be fun, Alia reasons. Marionette's the best gamer in the class aside from Max. Unlike someone else I could name. Do I detect an insult in your tone? Nino scoffs, mock offended. Alia levels a finger at him. Says the guy with a high score of exactly 400 points. Touché, he mutters. Anyway, I thought it would be cool to have the whole squad over for the night. And if you want to know, what else? Nino checks to both sides, very briefly, as though scanning for imaginary eavesdroppers in the hallway. There's no one, as class had already let out for the day. He turns back and leans in closer. I'm getting kinda worried about Adrian. Alia nodded slowly. I see where you're coming from. Honestly, I'm getting a bit suspicious of those two. Well, there's that, but I really just want to get Adrian out of the house, Nino admits. The last time I saw him having fun at a non-school event was like his birthday party. And I don't know if he really enjoyed that, because apparently I had to become a bubble-shooting supervillain to get that stuff done. And that was months ago, Alia reminds him. Exactly! So you know what? Even if Dadzilla says no, I might just scale the walls with a grappling hook and rescue him like a damsel in distress. What are you gonna do, spirit him away on your noble steed bike? Don't give me any ideas, woman, Nino jokes back. All right, Alia hums. As heartbroken and wanting as you've left me, I'm definitely on board with Team Free Adrian, and I want to find out what he and Marionette are up to as well. She adjusts her glasses with one finger, staring into the distance as she enters what Nino likes to call reporter mode. They've been super suspicious ever since, 2 months ago. Marionette avoided everyone for a week, including me, and then about a month ago she and Adrian were suddenly freaking Romeo and Juliet. Call me paranoid, but I just know there's something weird going on. Marionette usually tells me everything, and on top of that, Akuma attacks have been increasing in frequency. That doesn't have anything to do with Marionette's love life, but isn't it suspicious that all of this is happening at the same time? Well, it's only Tuesday, Nino reminds her. You have 3 more days until Friday, and Adrian and Marionette are already home for the day. Might be a good time to, hang at the park with me. Alia blinks, coming out of a reporter mode trance, and glances over at Nino, who has a hopeful expression on his face. She smiles, wider than she did before. Sounds like fun. I have a few hours to spare before dinner. Nino lights up, and the two hold hands as they head across the hall and out into the sunlight with everyone else. Marionette, are you still awake up here? Marionette looks up from her desk to see her mother, leaning through the trap door. Sabine is wearing a nightshirt. A glance out the window confirms that it's pitch black outside. How did it get so late? Marionette wonders. It seems like only an hour or two ago that she finished an early dinner and sat down to work on a new design for a sweatshirt commissioned by Rose for Julica's upcoming birthday. Black was Julica's color, so a Chat Noir-themed sweatshirt had been the best design so far, not to mention Julica would probably think it was funny. But she already wore so much black, so maybe something with pink to match Rose's color palette, or purple to match the dyed streak in Julica's hair. Marionette shakes her head as she realizes she's getting caught up in her thoughts again and forces herself to focus on her mother. What was that, Mum? I said, please make sure you go to sleep soon. It's important that you get a good night's sleep. I will, I promise, Mom. Marionette lies, feeling the familiar twinge of guilt, but swallowing it. Sabine smiles. Thank you. I'll see you in the morning. Love you, Mom. Marionette calls as her mother shuts the trap door. She looks at the clock. 10:30. She changes into her pajamas, quickly, and then shuts off the lamp, plunging the room into darkness. After a moment's consideration, she unlatches the window and opens it gently, letting a breeze of late spring air into the room. The bed is easy to find in the darkness, and for once Marionette doesn't stub her toe horribly on the bedpost as she flops down onto her blanket. Tiki is sleeping on one of the pillows, placed just out of sight of the trapdoor, and Marionette doesn't bother to wake her up, so for a while it's just her in the silent room. She passes the time with her phone, checking emails and the lady blog, and playing a little game involving leaving food in a virtual yard for the neighborhood cats. Eventually, her eyelids are getting heavy, and just as she switches back to check her yard again, "Evening, Princess," comes a voice from the window, and Marionette yelps embarrassingly, despite the fact that she'd been expecting this all evening. Chat Noir peers at her from the windowsill, and despite the fact that she can only see his eyes glowing in the dark, Marionette just knows he's wearing his usual cocky smirk. "Did I scare you?" he purrs teasingly, with an innocent tilt of his head. "Hardly," Marionette tells him with a roll of her eyes. "Hold on, give me a second." "Tiki," she murmurs, and scoops the Kwami into her hands. "Tiki, wake up, I need to transform." A minute or so, and a hastily made promise of cookies to be delivered upon return later, Chat helps Ladybug through the bedroom window and onto the balcony. Any signs of Akuma activity? She asks, just as a precaution. Not one bit, he replies. We have the whole evening to ourselves. That's a relief after that Akuma at the Jardins des Plantes. Ladybug sighs, and then looks over at Chat with a smile. I'm glad we could do this tonight. We hardly ever have time anymore. Chat slips one arm around her waist and pulls her closer, bumping their hips together. I've missed it too, he sighs. Ladybug hums, looking up at the sky. After a moment of silence, she turns to look at Chat. What do you think about the top of the Eiffel Tower? I'd like to sit up there tonight, I think. Chat grins. Sounds perfect, my lady. Ladybug groans and pushes him away. Okay, so, that's the end of chapter 2, and I think I will actually be keeping up with the story as best as I can. From what I heard, I thought it was just like a one-shot kind of thing. I thought it was already done, actually. So, I'm sorry about this. I will try my best to keep this up-to-date reading. But for now, thank you all for watching, and have a absolutely beautiful day. By the way, don't forget to comment or something, you know, I want to know you guys are out there. But, like I said, have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and good night.